Do you actually have to be on cocaine to be on this podcast?
It's a great day to be a Wildcat!
Cocaine.
Surfing.
What is up, everybody? You are listening to yet another edition of Cocaine Willie, the official K-State representative on the College Huddle. I am your commissioner, Bob Trollsby, and as always, I am joined by the good chef, the great chef, Andre Napier, and Fireball Matt Marchesini, who's drinking Topo Chico tonight, my man. Do you have the touch of grapefruit or touch of lime?
No, touch of lime, or just twist of lime.
Twist of lime. Okay, good man.
Costco
good man.
special. I've had like 3 of these today.
Dude, Colorado. Hey, Colorado Costco's, you have to get on your game because until you have Topo Chico, twist of lime, that's going to be a bummer. It's going to be a bummer every time I go there. But boys, we're coming off of a victory tonight. We've got the 34-27 dub by the Cats, which was not exactly the
Chef dead.
No, Chef is just.
Is he sleeping?
No, he's just, no.
Wake up down there.
No. It was not
Wake
exactly the
Wake
game
up.
that any of the three of us predicted, but
No.
the Cats come out on top. It's a dub. It's against probably a college football playoff team. I'm going to say it now.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know where the group of 5 is right now. Shout out to Northern Illinois, maybe out of the MAC.
Dub.
The MAC is strong, baby.
Big dub against the Fighting Irish today, but I guess just let's just float on the vibes, boys.
Let's float them.
How are you feeling coming out of that game? Because going into and I guess just full disclosure, I was coming out of the first half of the game. I had to do childcare for most of it. I had to sit with my son, my 13-month-old, 14-month-old son.
1-year-old.
In
That's
his
how
bedroom.
most people say it.
Yeah. 1-year-old son. I was sitting in his bedroom. I was rocking him to sleep because he would not sleep in his crib. And I was watching on like the tiny little midget screen that we have on our phones here. So it was just not a good situation. It was a bad situation. So I watched most of the first half from a nursery. And the second half,
not a great spot to be in.
The second half, the Cats really, made it competitive. It was better, but it still wasn't great. So I guess I just want unsolicited just thoughts. Like I'm just
for me
to the two of you. Riff.
Second half was a total night and day. You said it wasn't great. I think it was a million times better.
It was better, but it wasn't great still.
We moved the ball with ease outside of maybe 1 or 2 drives that were 3 and outs. Outside of those 2 drives, I think we moved the ball with ease. Defense made a total adjustment outside of 1 long 3rd and 21 breakdown. Outside of that play on defense and a couple 3 and out drives where, we got conservative on play calling when we could have really iced the game, the second half was, that's kind of what you want to see from K-State. Now, what more do you want? Are we 2004 Texas? 2005 Texas? What are we? Explain what expectations you had, because I think my expectations were reached in the second half. Mind you, we won the game.
We did win the game. So your expectations hit in the second half.
Yes,
but but you would admit that this team played only 2 good quarters of football in this whole deal.
Well, yeah,
right?
The first half was rough.
I think the overarching theme of this game, and I said this was going to be a close game. I thought it was going to be a lower scoring game. I put stock in the fact that I felt Tulane was going to be it was going to be a tough test for us. I just feel over an entire kind of 4 quarters, you could leave the game feeling, oh yeah, we won. That's great. Oh yeah, the defense played a great second half. But the overall offense, I do not think played very well. I also don't think it was necessarily on the part of some of the players that the offense didn't play well.
What are you getting at right now?
I feel that
Tell me your thoughts on the play calling.
I feel like the coaching staff on both sides of the football today let a lot of these guys down with how the game plan was, maybe on the defensive side, and then on the offensive side, it just felt very uncomfortable watching this offense try and put together drives.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting a lot of shades of like 2018, like just Avery just did not look comfortable in designed passing plays today.
My issue is the design passing plays. They're too predictable. One, because they're automatically swing passes. You cannot do that. The throwing swing passes on first down is having motion go into your swing pass is never going to work. That's just bad design. And I had a conversation earlier today. Who's calling these plays? Is it Matt Wells? Is it Connor Riley? We don't really have, a labeled play caller, because every time I see Matt Wells, he has a headset on and he has a play calling sheet.
But by all indications from every press conference, every kind of media availability we've had, the offensive coordinator and play caller is Connor Riley.
Okay. But now,
from all indications that we've been given as fans.
So now we have to look at it. We ran the ball effectively outside of obvious rundowns. Like in late in the game when we were trying to get the ball, the clock to run out, we ran the ball effectively. Edwards had 13 yards per carry. Giddens was over 5 yards a carry. Avery had 40 yards rushing. So we ran the ball effectively against, who we can now say might be a stingy defense. Possibly.
And this is what, the 6th straight game that DJ Giddens has had 100 or more yards.
Very effective. Now the passing is where we need to get to it. More what I would want to see, because obviously I don't know anything near as much as these guys do. And because I'm a fan, I'm an idiot. But play action deep balls, throwing things beyond 5 or 6 yards past the line of scrimmage is a must. It has to happen, because what is happening, what you saw in the second half, the ball to Keegan Johnson down the sideline, that's one-on-one coverage with no safety help. That was happening earlier in the game, but we just were not throwing that pass. What was the other one? The wheel route, which, come to find out, wasn't actually a wheel route, wasn't a designed play call. It was improvised by Avery Johnson and DJ Giddens. So those plays like that, you have to find a way to get those earlier in the game, because the box is loaded up. And if we want to run the ball effectively, we have to get these people off of the line of scrimmage and out of the box. And that means taking more deep shots, not swing passes on first down to start every drive.
And Matt, I do want to get your thoughts real quick, but I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Annie Mae's Parlor and Pat's Beef Jerky. Annie Mae's, you know them, you love them. They are located at 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville. Annie Mae's has been in business for 50 years running, and they're a must-visit destination on school nights and game days alike. It's also where I had my first legal alcoholic beverage way back when. So visit Annie Mae's Parlor. They're an amazing, amazing establishment in Aggieville. Also, shout out to Pat's Beef Jerky. They sent us boxes, by the way. Let's do a quick unboxing real quick.
Oh my God. This is
Might as well. Why not?
quick unboxing.
My favorite savory beef pepper sticks. We've got hats. We've got everything right here.
Oh shit.
Damn, I didn't get my box yet.
You haven't gotten your box yet?
I didn't get my box.
Oh, it's probably in my mailbox.
Your box is
I just came home.
But guys, check out Pat's Beef Jerky, www.patsbeefjerky.com. Use the promo code CATS at checkout for 10% off of your next order. Matt, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like this, my expectations were actually very low, probably compared to a lot of other people for this game. I was very disappointed in the offense. I think Avery Johnson's biggest strength is improvising on these passes. It's not these pass plays that they're putting together. I just watching him today, I kind of made a comment to who I was with, but he just looked very uncomfortable in the pocket today. Taking these snaps, he just doesn't look like he's not relaxed in there. Like maybe I would have expected just based off of the preseason hype about what we were expecting from him in the passing game. So it was something that I noticed today. I mean, I just feel like the play calling needs to leverage some of the improvisation in future games, because I think we saw some of the plays today that really, I mean, the first touchdown pass was one, that he was able to make something happen and find, an open receiver. And obviously the one you mentioned with DJ Giddens. So I'm hoping that today is a learning opportunity, not just from a player development perspective, but from the coaching staff too, and looking at on the offensive side, hey, we're seeing in real game time what Avery is able to put together. We're seeing how our guys are able to run the football. I would argue, I mean, Dylan Edwards in that second half made some really good plays, but he wasn't out there too much today, at least compared to last week, which is fine. I mean, I guess you can look at how good DJ Giddens is playing, but I think Dylan Edwards just has shown some of the speed and the agility and the ability to break a tackle, getting him more involved in the offense. I would love to see moving forward as well. But I mean, on the offensive side,
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And I was just
I
gonna
agree.
say,
I think he
Dylan
needs
Edwards
more
right now is my favorite player on this offense.
No doubt. I think he's probably the best playmaker we've seen so far. Jace would probably have a consideration out from that first game, but
Sure,
we're obviously not throwing the ball deep like we should. So Matt's point stands. What do you got to do to get Avery more comfortable? And he said it, make him more of an improviser. That means getting him outside of the pocket, more play actions, more rollouts, limiting the field size to him so he's not having to think about his progressions as much, where he's not looking 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe he's looking 1, 2 on the right side of the field on a rollout. I think those are simple things that I think they can do, and that takes a little pressure off of the offensive line too, that they don't have to hold up for, I don't know, 5 seconds every time.
Jace Brown, though, I will say this is his worst game statistically since Baylor, November 11th of last year. One reception.
Oh, there's only how many games?
Dante Cephas still doesn't have a catch.
Still not on the board.
Yeah.
Not on the board. I think that's worth calling out. I think that's worth recognizing. I mean, all we've heard about this entire offseason is Keegan Johnson and Dante Cephas. Keegan at least showed it.
Keegan Johnson had a decent game.
I think we saw a flash today.
Keegan had a decent game.
Yes. Keegan
I like
good
Keegan.
If
Keegan does this, if Keegan has this game every game, I'm absolutely happy.
I guess
but we cannot let Avery off the hook.
No, totally. I want some kind of maybe some final thoughts on this game and where you think there needs to be improvement, because I want to focus on Arizona. I want to focus on going into next week. You've got a Friday night matchup, and we'll talk more in depth about this later this week. you've got a Friday night matchup in what might be the biggest Friday night matchup or night game that you've had in Manhattan since when? I don't
Auburn.
know. Fill in the blank. Auburn,
Auburn.
2013.
Auburn.
So you've got to
Night
bring
game
the
for
heat.
sure. So
You've got to bring the heat. And from what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I don't feel confident in this team going in and busting the balls out of Arizona. I think it's going to be. I think we might get boat raced at this point.
And the reason why I would feel not very confident is because of what we saw on the defensive end, and that's the communication. I mean, we will be at home.
Defense was bad.
I don't know if it was bad. There was just miscommunication with no pressure. So either we send pressure like we did in the second half, where we're sending 6, 7 guys at a time to beat their numbers, because every time you watch them when they break one of those big plays, it's their max protecting, and they have 3 guys out on the route, and they're crossing people up, and they're making sure the safeties are clearing out and the people underneath are getting left in the dust. So what you have to do, like they did in the second half, you send more bodies on that max protection, try to get there. And that's what we did. But versus Arizona, if the communication's not there, McMillan's going to have 500 yards receiving.
Yeah. This is an Arizona offense that's I mean, they're lights out. This is an insane Arizona offense. Like,
I agree.
Say what you will about Tulane today. They definitely overperformed to their expectation, I think. But, dude, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Truth.
Dude, Noah Fafita, though, compared to Darian Mensah.
We'll see.
I think the biggest
Tet McMillan compared to Mario Williams. I don't know.
The biggest piece of improvement, I think, has to be getting pressure to the quarterback without having to blitz additional people.
I agree.
That was a huge thing today. In the second half, we brought the blitz many times. And obviously it worked out in getting to the quarterback a handful of times.
Austin Romaine 2 sacks.
Yeah. But they have to improve and find ways to get to the quarterback and get pressure on the quarterback without bringing multiple linebackers into the equation, or a cornerback blitz, something like that. Because then that's going to help from a secondary perspective, and relieving some of the pressure on the back end of the defense. These guys just did not do that today outside of the blitzing situations, which I was somewhat disappointed in. I mean, a guy last week, Toby O. I don't think I heard his name today.
No, but the issue is, Matt, when we're a base 3 down team. And if we're only rushing 3, and like I said, they're max protecting, that's at least 7 guys blocking. That's a running back and a tight end with 5 offensive linemen. You cannot expect 3 D linemen to get through that. Every single one of them is getting double teamed. You cannot expect only 3 people to get there. So you have to bring pressure.
No, I'm not saying like we're just rushing 3 guys, but I'm saying in a lot of the plays that you're describing, we were bringing 5, 6 guys in there.
You have to.
You can bring, an additional linebacker into the equation, and you rush 4, and you should still at least put yourself in a position where you can at least put a little bit of pressure on the quarterback. I'm not saying you're going to get to the quarterback every single time, but even bringing just 4, you should at least be pushing the issue a little bit. And
I agree.
We never saw that today.
No.
So
no doubt.
That's something that they're going to have to work on, trying to scheme and get a situation, because we will not be able to survive a passing offense like Arizona not consistently, but bringing the amount of blitzing that we saw today, because the quarterback there is more skilled, at least from what we've seen from a career perspective.
Yes.
And you have athletes on the outside that will eat that up and create and route run to try and get open in those situations. So There's a lot of development that's going to happen in the next handful of days.
I agree, but I also think that we can fear monger all we want about, the Arizona offense and all this noise, but we are at home. We are on a short week when they're playing a late game, probably in still 3 more hours till they kick off.
Yeah.
And they've got to come here on a short rest. So, I'm not ready we'll do more of our breakdowns later in the week, but as of right now, I think a lot of it was miscommunication in the first half off of non-pressure situations with Keenan Garber playing man while everybody else is playing zone or vice versa. So I think there was blown coverages, but I'm not ready to just, say that we were outmanned today.
No.
And Matt, you do make great points that we have to start seeing pressure more from at least 4-man, not necessarily bringing 7 or 6. But I think that's what the game plan called for today because of the max protection. I'm going to go back and watch this game tonight, and I'm going to count how many blockers there were on those, those crossing patterns because I think they're blocking 7 at a time.
Yeah, the point that you make about not hearing Toby's name called basically all night, that hits because I really don't feel like I did hear his name called at all. And you look at this game on paper, Tulane had 491 total yards to our 396. Multiple turnovers against the K-State offense, 21 first downs to 19 first downs, and time of possession was 33 to 26. And Darian Mensah, that kid,
he's good.
Credit where it's due. He's fucking good, man. He put up 342 yards passing against a K-State defense that last year was a top 20 defense all year.
He only had 80.
Hasn't really turned over a ton of guys.
But he only had 80 yards in the second half.
Totally.
So, I think
I don't want to discredit that at all.
No, I think our defense. The adjustment was made. The communication was settled in, and I think we played a ton better. And if we would have had that from the beginning, what kind of game would this been?
One thing I want to ask the two of you,
if was a fifth though,
the thing that I noticed the most was Mario Williams was open
all
fucking day, all day,
He's a dog.
and Jordan Riley. We've heard a lot of talk about Jordan Riley this offseason about how he's come in. He's one of the best. He might be one of the best DBs in the country is what, basically Joe Klanderman said in a press conference. What happened there? Because number 6 was missing all day, and Mario Williams finished the day with 128 receiving yards, 6 receptions, and a long of 47. And that dude was open all day.
I wouldn't necessarily put all that on Jordan Riley, but he did have some, very egregious plays, especially the touchdown to the tight end in the end zone where he didn't even attempt to make a play on the ball. But, I don't know. We said the same thing about Marquise Siegel in the Missouri game last year. And, it just takes a while for these guys to find the chemistry. He's going up a level. Let's be honest. He's going up a level from Ball State. So maybe it takes a second for him to establish what he needs to do and the physicality and the speed that
Although
he's going to do.
In fairness, he's playing a G5 team today.
Well, touche, sir. Touche.
The one play in the end zone was just awful. It was sad. In the first half, it was like Will Lee. I was having these just flashbacks of certain plays last season.
He played well against Notre Dame, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just my hope is that from a communication perspective and all these things, you fix some of the small things in this short week. If it's communication, all of this type of stuff, that's something that will get better through the course of a season. But the secondary has to be that one kind of item that has to improve and make some gains in 5 days. 6 days. And hopefully it comes from, slight improvements in all the other areas too, on the line. On the linebacker side, Austin Romaine was a dog today.
Dog.
And he's a
Austin
guy.
Moore, dog.
Yeah.
Jack Fabris, dog.
In preseason, I'm pretty sure I said it on here, but Austin Romaine as a true freshman played a good amount of snaps last season. That was only going to help him, and he got dogged last year, as a true freshman playing in these games. And I think that's only improved him and given him the confidence of knowing now, like, things aren't as fast anymore coming up from high school to college, getting better. And so I, personally, he was, of course, he had a huge play today, with the strip sack, or at least, the strip on the quarterback. And, Austin Moore has done what he's needed to do. So it is hard. The first half was just very, very poor. But they gave up 7 points in the second half, making some changes. And we could credit the coaching staff for making those adjustments, because in the past that has been a struggle as a K-State fan, seeing, what second half adjustments are made. And you could obviously tell there were some, but the overall product out there is a little bit tough. Just kind of, putting it in a situation where, it's like to win, to reach some of the expectations that a lot of us see this team, there just has to be some improvement. So I'm excited. The Arizona game will be very interesting. I think it's going to be fun, but I don't know.
This is what I'll say. I never thought that this game was going to get out of control in any way, shape, or form. So what we got on the field basically is exactly what we, expected. So I cannot be upset that, the game was not out of hand at halftime. So us losing by 10 was not what we wanted, but, we ultimately came out with the dub. That's what we wanted. We got the dub. We move on. We go home. Offense, still working on it, but we progressed more than we did in the first half of last game. Defense turned it on in the second half. I think that's more of what we're going to see than what we saw in the first half. So I give this game a B-.
That's generous.
This was a B- game for me. This is
like a C+, maybe.
Oh, what?
Although the line between a C+ and a B- isn't all that much.
No, I think it was a B-.
You thought we were winning 41-10 or whatever. What you're stupid? No, I'm not pointing. I'm not looking at you, but Mr. Bob,
31-10, not
31-10, whatever.
Either way, here's the deal. I don't want to be sunshine pumper, Mr. Sunshine.
I'll do it.
And all this stuff. Here's the thing that I think coming out of this game. This was definitely not the situation any of us thought or wanted this to be. But the team finally had to deal with adversity. Yep. Avery Johnson specifically had to deal with adversity as a quarterback of a team where he's not necessarily. You can say what you want about the NC State game. That game was never really out of reach necessarily. The Tulane game, there were multiple times where that game was out of reach. Unless the offense figured their shit out and the defense also figured their shit out at the same time, there was a reality where Tulane was going to beat us by 2 or 3 touchdowns, potentially. So Avery having to go in and Connor Riley having to go in and have to adjust at halftime, the defense having to come in and adjust at halftime, and the defense's credit, they did a great job in the second half. We've talked about it a little bit, but they did a great job making adjustments, making sure that Mensa wasn't, boat racing the shit out of us, because that was what was happening in the first half. I feel a lot better knowing that. If you're going to have a tune-up game, if you're going to have a situation where this team's going to have to face adversity early on, I would rather that happen against Tulane. You figure it out, you work out the kinks, you iron it out, and then you go into that Arizona game in a non-conference conference game, and you fucking figure it out, and you win, and you beat the Wildcats in a Wildcats versus Wildcats matchup.
Yep, I agree. I don't agree that this was a tune-up game. This is a game that we knew was going to be a challenge. I think we needed the dub, and we got the dub. What my one requirement was that Connor Riley or whoever's calling the plays opens the playbook up. I still think it's 50% closed. So I don't know. Bring it on to Arizona. Friday, I will have my eyes tuned into that game, and so will the world. So let's go, Cats.
Matt,
baby.
give us your final word, and we'll get out of here.
Go Cats. Win is a win. You know, at the end of the day, I guess I can be happy.
Yep. Let's all be happy. Let's all
We
go
are
to
happy.
We're happy. I don't know if anybody's tuned into Fox Sports 1 right now, but that might make you happy too.
Maybe.
Who's playing on Fox Sports 1?
The Kansas Jayhawks.
God damn it.
It's okay, though.
Also, South Alabama, apparently. Or no,
That's
South Florida.
South Florida
Yeah.
versus Alabama.
There's some good football on.
That's an interesting matchup. And then the Colorado Buffaloes are getting boat raced by the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Not fun, not enjoyable for any of us here. But for all of us here at Cocaine Willie, thank you for listening, watching, all the above. Once again, we want to shout out our sponsors, Pat's Beef Jerky and Annie Mae's Parlor. Remember to visit patsbeefjerky.com and use the promo code CATS at checkout to get 10% off of your order. If you want this
a hot hat. Oh, man.
You want this hat?
Yes.
Get 10% off your order. Order the hat and get some savory beef pepper sticks, my favorite. Additionally, we are the K-State representative on the College Huddle, which is the largest community of fan-driven content in the nation. If you want to watch or listen to Nebraska content, we have a Nebraska pod for you. So check them out at thecollegehuddle.com. Follow them on social media at College Huddle. Last but not least, you can follow the show at Cocaine Willie on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram, or follow us individually. I am at Bob Trollsby. Chef is at Chef Andre Napier, and Fireball Matt is at Matt Marchesini. Boys, Chef, take us out of here.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, baby.
We are all Coke and no joke. Wildcat Country, we will see you on Monday this week because early week.
Let's go.
Let's ride.
Wildcats.
Cats.